How you doing?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Good. Hey, first question for you today is, can you kind of weigh the options? I mean, Fresno State's got a game under their belt, so what's the advantage that they have, and then what advantages maybe do you have from being able to see that tape and then having a little extra time to prepare?
Well, I think you outlined it. I mean, I think playing a game is a huge option. Gets you more a little bit of the game sync, but in the same breath, they had to play on a Saturday night and turn it back around for a Thursday night. Now they're home, so that helps them. Flip side of it, we haven't played a game, but we had at least enough days to prepare, which is huge for us. I mean, yesterday was a disaster. We were out in the snowstorm with inches of snow on the field, and that was a tough day. But we had a heck of a day today. I thought we put something in the bank today, which was good, and I thought we put something in the bank on Saturday. So Saturday was really good. Today was really good. So we got 2 strong days in preparation too for Fresno that I feel really good about.
How grateful were you that you even got a practice in yesterday and facilities was able to at least get you your field so you could get some work in?
Yeah, well, a couple things, right? One, obviously, I think it's good to be outside and it's frigid like that and get used to that. I think that's a good thing for you. Secondly, I wasn't going to go in the indoor like most people would have because I was afraid that, God forbid, anybody got sick, and then they start talking about, oh, you're inside now and all this other stuff. So I thought the best health for our team was the best for us to stay outside. So it was a tough day, but our kids came out with a great attitude. And, we learned how to play in that hard driving snow and wind. And I just think there'll be a game we'll have to play like that, and that'll come back for us.
Okay, we'll take our first questions from Justin Michael.
Hey, Steve. Justin Michael, DNVR here. Fresno State, they lost a competitive game against Hawaii. Was there anything schematically that surprised you at all? It looked like they had some containment issues with the Hawaii quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Hawaii throws the ball over it a lot, but an excellent pass protecting outfit. I thought Fresno played really hard. They did a lot of good things. I mean, I think they got some really good players, and I think it'll be quite a battle when we go out to their home turf here on Wednesday night. They did a lot of good things, active on defense and explosive on offense.
Just going off of that real quick, were you surprised that they didn't get the ball to Jalen Cropper a little bit more, just given that he was a big part of their explosiveness last season?
Yeah, I mean, I think opening day, sometimes, everything doesn't go exactly the way you want it to go on opening day. So, those are the things that you worry about. I don't know how much we really saw, in terms of their whole package, either side of the ball. So we have to, obviously been preparing for everything. I think sometimes on opening day, you try to keep it a little tight. So, it's usually what I've seen in the past. The object is don't turn the ball over, play sound, fundamental football, and do a great job with your special teams for field position. The old adage, right? When you go on the road, you got to pack your defense, pack your run game. So that's what you need to do.
Okay, we'll go next to Terry Fry.
Coach, you've got more important things to worry about than being traveling secretary and coordinating travel and everything. But in COVID world, at the top of the program, looking down, how different is the road trip angle of this for a college football team at this stage?
I mean, it's completely different, and I'm involved in all of it. And it's I spent a good part of my morning this morning just making sure we were going through every detail of how we're going to eat, how we're going to travel, the bus situation, everything. I mean,
how are you going to eat and how are you going to travel?
Yeah, well, I mean, like little things like, you can't use a ketchup bottle, and we have to use our own people that are going to be masked and gloved to serve, so players aren't multiple people touching utensils. I mean, I'm involved with all of it. So we're going to travel spaced out with extra buses, and we're going to eat with only 4 to a big circular table. We're going to serving of everything will be done by our nutrition and strength staff. kids at night snack that they get will be a boxed up deal to go. I mean, there's a lot, okay? A lot of detail, and just how your routines are going to differ. And, this is, we have not traveled together here right now. We've spent a bunch of time together now, but we've not traveled together. We haven't even prepared for a true Friday, walk through meeting at night, travel, walk through the next day. We haven't been through that cycle with everybody yet. So that in itself, will present some challenges.
Does it detract or distract from football preparation?
I hope not. I mean, we're pretty organized and pretty detailed, and I don't think that'll happen. But we are all new traveling together, from how we, what we wear, and I'm pretty specific about what we do. Our team travels with a sport coat, open collar shirt to a game, and game going to the stadium. We put a tie on with that. We wear a certain attire on Friday in our morning walkthrough before we leave. We wear another attire at the hotel. We had to go through all that, make sure it was ordered, make sure we're all on the same page. And it's just a lot of that stuff that doesn't sound very important, but to me, it's very, very important.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Steve, quick follow-up on that, because I know a lot of times when your team travels, like you got some kids from California, their parents had come see them at the hotel.
Yeah.
With the bubble, is that allowed this year?
That's a good question. I would say no. I would say no.
All right, we'll go next to Kelly Lyle.
Hey, Steve, wanted to ask you a little bit. You talked some last week about kind of how your quarterbacks were doing. Have you settled on a rotation, how that's going to work out, who the starter is going to be, and what have you seen from both Patrick O'Brien and Todd Centio as you're prepping for this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both doing a great job, working hard, and we'll probably settle in here in the next 24 hours as a staff. But they've taken equal reps and had a great deal of prep time, and both have excelled in different areas. And it's good, healthy competition.
So it is still a very open competition?
I think those decisions will decide how we're going to handle all that probably here in the next 24 hours or so.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go next to Mike Chambers.
Hey, Coach. Mike Chambers with the Denver Post here. I know that you've been asked this before, but you're 2 days away from your first game, having been on the job for 10 months. I'm sure you're chomping at the bit to get that first game going. Yeah,
I mean, I think we're all excited to play. And, the last week got taken away last minute, which was hard, understandable, but hard. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all anxious to get going here. It's hard to believe, like, we were just talking about it yesterday. It's like, okay, so like it's the end of October. It's almost Halloween. We haven't played a game. We've had a blizzard. School's canceled today. I mean, like, you're just sitting there and you're shaking your head like, are you kidding me? Like, what's next? Yeah, I mean, it's a long time in the making. So we're excited. I think the kids are excited, anxious to get going.
Okay, we'll go next to Eddie Hers.
Hey, Steve, Eddie with the Reporter Herald here. You've talked a lot about just how the roster has been shorthanded throughout training camp, even leading into last week. But what's kind of the player availability looking like right now compared to last week?
Well, as of today, it's a little better. I don't know what tomorrow brings. Today we had a pretty good complement. Obviously I'm not going to share who's not there, but we had a pretty good complement today. Let's hope that we can stick with that by the time game time comes. So I forgot when we're getting tested again, probably tomorrow. So yeah, so probably tomorrow. Well, you never know.
For sure. Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we're going to let Steve go, and we're going to bring in Marcus and Cam Reddy. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys. Already pull the mask down? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, same thing, guys, for Marcus. If you'll just go ahead and type in the chat room if you got a question for him. We'll go ahead and do that, and we'll start off with Justin Michael.
Hey, Marcus, Justin Michael of DNVR here. Fresno State was one of your more successful games of the season last year. Do you remember specifically kind of what went well for you in that game? And are you looking forward to, playing them again?
I think a lot of kind of what happened last year for me personally was just more of a fact of I think I just kind of came in with a little more confidence. A lot of things from last year were just sort of kind of up and down. Finally kind of got off my injury a little bit, so I started to feel a little good, and the coaches sort of had a lot more confidence in me. So I think going into that one, I just felt a little more confident with, a lot of the things going on scheme-wise and as well, for me personally, just health-wise. So, yeah, I'm really excited to play this game. Fresno for me, a lot of my family's from California, so I think, it just gives me sort of like a somewhat at-home feeling, so it's kind of nice for me.
Okay, we'll go next to Kelly Lyle.
Yeah, Marcus, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about how you're feeling about the play of your quarterbacks. And I know Coach said he hasn't actually named a starter yet, but do you feel pretty confident that Patrick O'Brien and/or Todd Centio can get this offense up to its full potential this season and this first game even?
Yeah, I have complete confidence in whoever they pick. Right now, both their play is, they're both a little, they're different just from a standpoint of, Todd's a little more mobile than Patrick is, but at the same time, they both have leadership qualities. They both, when they get into the practice reps and get into, sort of getting behind the line and motivating them to try and, get off the line and get things going, they both have a great way of getting things going. And they both, at the same time, have, the ability just to sort of, I think, drive the team to really where we want to go. So I think whoever they put in there, is a great decision. I'll have confidence in both of them, and I couldn't ask for two better quarterbacks right now. So
does Patrick have any kind of advantage in the chemistry maybe from some of you guys with the returning guys, or there's so much change that doesn't really matter anymore?
I think for a good portion of things, I want to say Pat did have he has a good, chemistry with a lot of the guys coming back, but at the same time, with the way that camp got cut short for spring ball, and then on top of the fact that over the summer we all were just kind of separated, and it kind of just was everybody away from each other kind of period. So I think right now they're kind of in the same situation of just sort of trying to see who can really during game time step up, and whoever the coaches put out there, they're confident in. So I think there's not really like a either one that really hasn't up on the other one. So
Thanks.
Okay, we'll go next to Nick Rothschild.
Hey, Marcus. What in the world has the last week been like? I mean, you guys are preparing for your first game of the season. I'm sure you're all excited, and then that gets canceled, and then the snowstorm this weekend, and trying to prepare for a short week and get ready for Fresno. Can you kind of just take me through what that's been like?
It's been a lot of checking your phone. You leave practice. Coach has a plan for, at least tries to give us some sort of information on what he plans will be coming the next day. And then you just kind of got to wait and check your phone and see what comes up. Last week with the fact that the game got canceled, that was literally the biggest surprise to all of us, just from a standpoint of we just didn't see it coming. And then, now with the fact that the game got canceled, changing practice schedule around, and then getting used to that and getting ready for, we have a full week of practice, and then next thing you know, today or yesterday, crazy blizzard. Today it's just cold. It's just every day you just got to be prepared to see something. So.
Coach Addazio also mentions that football is a game of quick changes, and that this kind of can be seen as a good thing. The fact that you guys have to react to things so quickly. Do you see that the same way, and does that kind of make you guys almost extra prepared for when you start playing football games?
I'd say it keeps us prepared just from a standpoint of for us, we've kind of nonstop had to be prepared for different changes that pop up. So I think for us, we just kind of have sort of worked through the fact of, you just got to be prepared for anything. You never know who's going to be here. You never know, if the next second something's canceled or anything like that. So I feel like, for game time, if we go out and something changes, we're always prepared. And I feel like we're going to be prepared to just sort of respond in a better way than I think we have before. So.
We're going to go next to Eddie Hurst.
Hey, Marcus, Eddie with the Reporter Herald here. Obviously, a lot of new faces on your offensive line, particularly those 3 veterans from Boston College. Just with that in mind, what's kind of your confidence like in the offensive line compared to last year? Do you feel like it's in line to improve a little bit?
It's definitely in line to improve a little bit. Definitely in line to improve a lot. Right now, the way things are, the offensive line have been putting in a lot of effort to sort of work together and really sort of build a good bond starting off. They communicate very well up front, and they are very aware of different things that are going on. They communicate everything that's going on, and I think right now the way that they've been working together has really sort of given not only me but everybody else that has to be in the backfield, so quarterbacks and the rest of the running backs, it gives us all sort of a confidence that in all reality, I think at certain times we're just sort of questionable a little bit sometimes last year, and I think this year they've just sort of been able to work through a lot more of the little issues and the little things that sort of popped up. So.
Okay, we'll go next to Terry Fry.
You made the decision to stay home, and now you're a senior in a season in which the family element is going to be very tough to cope with. Family not being able to come watch you play and that kind of stuff. How has it been that way? How will it be that way? And how's it been as a student athlete in all of this?
I mean, it's tough. I think for me personally, as a student athlete, it kind of sucks not being able to see your family. For me personally, for a long period during, quarantines and stuff like that, I wasn't even able, when everything got shut down because it was spring break before, we kind of right there ended up having quarantine getting shut down. I flew back from a trip, so I didn't really get to see either of my parents. I honestly didn't get to see my parents for, I think it was 4 or 5 months after that. So that was kind of tough. And at the same time, you just kind of realize that, you just got to try and stay in best contact you can, text and call, use the opportunities you do have, and just try and sort of get used to it. But at the same time, you just sort of struggle at times with feeling like, okay, game days aren't going to be the same. You're not going to be able to look into the stands and see your family, or at the end of the game, go up and give them hugs and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely going to be a different sort of aspect for us as a team, just because we did sort of build a good family bond, and a lot of players have, met other people's families. And so I think it'll be a different kind of vibe going out there, but I think it'll be better for us as a team just because we'll be able to sort of build a family of our own just because we don't really have one to go to afterwards like that. So.
Okay, the last one from Marcus. It'll come from Kelly.
Marcus, that kind of ties in a little to what I wanted to ask you about too. You guys are going to be confined to the hotel because of wanting to make sure you don't get out and about and have chances to contract the virus, other things like that. How different is that from normal? I mean, do you guys ever really get to leave the hotel much on a road trip anyway? And part of that, you said you have a lot of family from California. How disappointed are they going to be maybe that you're nearby and they can't come visit you at the hotel and say hi?
I mean, before we never really could leave the hotel. The only time you got to really leave your room was just for meetings, snack times, and if your family came to visit. But I think that part won't be that tough. I mean, most of the time when we traveled, a lot of the time that we spent was usually if we decided to leave our rooms, it was sort of to just go hang out in somebody else's room and talk, go over stuff, or just mess around for a little bit, just spend some time. But I think that part won't be too tough. I think more of just the aspect of just, travel games and even the people that do have family that live in California. Like for me, it's going to suck just because during the year, I don't really get a lot of opportunities to go visit. And, those games sometimes those few times I get to see them, that kind of stuff kind of is going to suck. But I think, at the end of the day, we just got to kind of work through it. And hopefully, families can tune in and see the games on TV. And afterwards, you can get those phone calls and text messages, and hopefully that'll work. So.
Great. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Marcus. Guys, we'll bring Cam Reddy up next.
Oh, man.
Okay, we welcome Cam Reddy into the chat. Cam, just the last 2 days, the cold days of practice. I know players have gotten used to being able to go to the indoor, but you didn't get to. You still glad you got in the work you were able to the last 2 days?
Yeah. I think we did good with the circumstances that we had, and that's what this has been. It's just been to be able to adjust. But I thought we did a good job. I was happy with it.
Our next question will come from Kevin Lytle.
Hey, I'm Kevin Lytle, Colorado in here. I believe you were here in January, right?
Yeah, I was.
So you had a little bit of time before the pandemic hit, but still for you and kind of the new guys, what has it been like, not just football wise, but trying to, settle into a new place, a new school, a new locker room and all that through all the weirdness and restrictions of the COVID time?
Yeah, I mean, I was here before the pandemic, which was definitely helpful to meet some of the guys and everything, and then we regrouped, after the shutdowns, and there's been a lot of different things to navigate, but we got a great locker room, so it hasn't been too much, and it's just football at the end of the day. So.
And along with that, obviously, you and a couple of the other guys that came from Boston College have experience in the system and all of that. So kind of how do you merge, being a new player on the team, but also being able to help out some of the guys who have been here with, terminology and things like that of getting used to the system that's new for them, but not necessarily for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of learning. I was learning the area, and guys are learning the system. So that's just working together, and the more time you spend together, whether it's on film or, getting extra work together as an O-line, the more time you spend together, the more that stuff kind of happens naturally, where we're hanging out, and then we're working extra, and they're learning the schemes and everything. Just time.
Okay, we'll go next to Justin Michael.
You've been here since January, so you have had a chance to get to know some of the guys. Who are some of the guys that you were close with, and what are some of the things that you've done to kind of acclimate yourself to Fort Collins, to the community? I know it's been kind of weird given the pandemic and everything else going on. Yeah,
you gotta, I think it's really just, it comes through the work, so with everybody with this whole O-line, we've done a great job of just doing extra things together, whether it's watching extra film or doing And I just think if you spend time with your guys and you build that culture, then it just makes it a lot easier for all that.
Okay, we'll go next to Terry Fry.
Are you seeing and playing under the same Steve Addazio that you saw and played under at Boston College, or has there been any difference? And you're in a different situation now after having walked on at BC and coming here.
It's pretty consistent. Yeah, it's consistent. It's our expectations are very clear, and yeah, same coach. So
How'd you end up here? What were the machinations that led to you following him?
You explore all your options, especially as a walk-on. You know what I mean? And Coach Addazio is somebody I was happy he was my coach at Boston College, and so it was an easy choice to come out here.
Okay, last question for you, Cam, from Kelly Lyle.
Cam, Kelly Lyle with the Fort Collins, Colorado. And just wanted to ask you real quick about kind of your impressions of how the two quarterbacks are doing and how they're leading the offense, and your level of confidence in being able to have an efficient offense and right away in game one.
Yeah, they've both done a tremendous job. Whether it's leading the guys, setting the tempo, they're saying all the right things, they're doing all the right things. Both really smart guys and great players. And so it's I get confidence in both of them, and I think this offense is going to come together.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks, Cam.
Thanks,
Good
Cam.
warm.
Guys.